Storybook Vale is here, and there's no shortage of new lands to explore. Unfortunately, the exciting new world of the Vale is rather difficult to traverse without an abundance of the expansion's newest currency, known as Storybook Magic. Unlike Mist, Storybook Magic is a bit more difficult to obtain, considering it cannot be harvested with any of the royal tools, and players will need 5,000 to 10,000 of this new currency to access many of the game's new locations. After a long day of grinding, I believe I've worked out the best and most efficient way to grind out this new currency, and in under 24 hours I managed to unlock all of the new expansion areas. So today I'll be sharing the method I use to gather Storybook Magic so quickly in the hopes of helping other Dreamlight Valley enthusiasts explore these exciting new lands sooner rather than later. As of right now, there are 3 ways players can obtain Storybook Magic: completing Storybook Vale duties, completing Storybook Vale tasks, and completing certain Storybook Vale quests. The fastest method of these 3 would of course be Storybook Vale duties, but that does not mean you want to forego or forget about your Storybook Vale tasks, as they are crucial to gaining Storybook Magic quickly. In today's video, we're going to explore how you can passively complete several of these Storybook Vale tasks while simultaneously focusing on your Storybook Vale duties, making this the fastest method to generate Storybook Magic. We'll be breaking down this video into 3 primary chapters. The first chapter will focus on the benefits of setting up a worksite designed to quickly and efficiently burn through both tasks and duties. The second chapter will focus on highlighting which tasks you can complete almost immediately, as well as providing some tips and tricks to burn through the others. And finally, our last chapter will break down everything you need to know about all the various Storybook Vale duties, like how to complete them quickly and how to ensure you do not get time locked. With that, let's go ahead and dive into the first chapter. Just as we've done in the past for Dreamlight and Mist, I recommend getting started by building a worksite. This site will be designed to complete as many Storybook Vale duties and tasks as possible. For this build, you'll want to include your primary house, some external storage, Remy's restaurant, all of the forageable trees and bushes you've currently unlocked, 4 auto gardeners, 4 auto cookers, a crafting bench, a cooking station, a small side garden, Goofy stall, and a wishing well. It's important for me to mention here that you do not have to keep this set up indefinitely. I almost always break apart these work sites once I've gathered the resources I need. So if you don't like the way it looks, don't worry, we won't be keeping it up forever. Now let's touch on why we want to have a setup at all. When it comes to generating Storybook Magic quickly, the speed at which you complete tasks and duties is ultimately what determines just how fast you can accumulate this new currency. Having all your forageable trees in one location allows you to complete foraging duties quickly. Chez Remy being close by allows you to serve villagers. Goofy Stall is present for duties and tasks that require the selling of goods, such as fish, minerals, and vegetables. The cooking station helps with any duty that requires cooked meals, and our gardens serve to help with any gardening duties. With all of that in mind, this area is not only set up to focus on duties, but to also simultaneously focus on tasks. You may be wondering why we have 2 gardens. Well, you see, our smaller garden behind my home is designed for quick crops and harvest, mostly for the duties that require players to pick or plant 5 crops. As for the larger automatic garden, this has a different job. This garden's purpose is to contribute to the completion of 3 major Storybook Vale tasks: harvest vegetables from Storybook Vale, plant vegetables from Storybook Vale, and sell vegetables from Storybook Vale. By keeping a constant rotation of fast-growing crops in your auto garden, you can make fast progress on all 3 of these tasks, and it requires little to no extra work on your end. Simply harvest, replant, and sell the crops every time you return to this worksite, and you'll fly through these tasks all while working on the smaller goals in your Storybook Vale duties. As for our auto cookers, they play a similar role. The cooking station allows us to cook 1 to 5-star meals for a variety of duties, but the auto cookers are here to focus on 5 Storybook Vale tasks. Cook with Storybook Vale fruit, cook with Storybook Vale veggies, cook with Storybook Vale spices, cook with Storybook Vale fish, and cook with Storybook Vale seafood. Each of these tasks can be completed by using 1 ingredient in the auto cooker, and you only need 150 meals to complete and clear these tasks. Any Storybook Vale ingredients will work, assuming they meet the requirements of the task. Personally, I used peppercorn for spice, cauliflower for the veggies, and persimmons or sour berries for the fruit. Just be sure to check and reset your auto cookers whenever you come back to your worksite to complete duties. Now that we've explained how to set up our worksite, it's time to move on to Chapter 2, which focuses a bit more on Storybook Vale tasks. One of the first tasks I recommend knocking out would be the seed buying tasks. There are 3 seed tasks in Storybook Vale that simply require you to buy 645 seeds from each of the 3 major biomes. I recommend getting this done as soon as you have access to the Goofy stall, assuming you have the star coins on hand. Completing these tasks not only give you a nice boost of Storybook magic, but having all of the seeds on hand will certainly come in handy for our auto gardeners and various gardening duties. Another set of tasks you can knock out while working on your duties would of course be the various foraging tasks. You can quickly and easily work through these simply by harvesting all of the new trees and bushes the moment they're ready, or just whenever you revisit your worksite. That said, I do recommend always leaving 1 of each of these new bushes or trees untouched. These forageable plants come up a lot in your Storybook Vale duties, and you don't want to be stuck waiting around for them to respawn. Luckily, you only need 1 bush or tree ready to complete the duties, so always keeping 1 on standby is definitely ideal, but you can pick all the others to progress in your foraging tasks. Now let's talk about a few of the tasks that we can't do at our worksite, which involve both critters and mining. Starting off with critters, each Storybook Vale critter has 2 tasks, feeding and feeding favorite. So of course, feeding critters their favorite food will actually apply to both of these tasks simultaneously. Owls favor barley, which can be purchased and grown in the bind. Dragons favor pure ice and magma. Pure ice can be mined in the Ever After, and magma can be mined in Mythopia. As for the adorable baby Pegasus horses, they prefer any 4 or 5-star veggie-based cooked meal. Personally, I prefer to give them bulgur salad, as it's pretty easy to scroll to since it starts with B, but you don't have to use exactly what I use. We'll touch on critters a bit more in the next chapter. For now, let's move on to mining. The various mining tasks in Storybook Vale are definitely tasks you're going to be passively building up towards as you work on your duties. There are several duties that require you to mine 4 rock spots in a particular biome or hunt down a specific mineral. My biggest recommendation when it comes to both mining tasks and mining duties is to always use a mining potion if you can. The mining potion grants a chance for rare minerals with each swing of the pickaxe. This makes completing your mining duties far more efficient. Additionally, using the potions is the best way to quickly build up a nice stockpile of the new rare minerals. And with each new mineral having its own Storybook Vale task assigned to it, this is incredibly helpful for Storybook magic. Lastly, there is a task that requires you to sell Storybook Vale gems. This task is complete once you sell 600 gems. By the way, I did test this, and both pure ice and magma do count as gems. Closing out our task chapter, there are a few tasks I didn't really touch on here, like fishing tasks and snippet tasks. There are around 7 fishing tasks in total. 3 of them require you to catch fish in each of the 3 major biomes, and the other 4 involve either cooking or selling fish or seafood. I really don't have a ton of advice to offer when it comes with these tasks. Even with fishing potions, it's going to take a while to catch, sell, and cook all the fish needed to complete these tasks. So I don't really recommend focusing too hard on the fishing task side of things, as it's going to be rather time consuming. Just do your fishing whenever you're doing fishing fishing duties. Now for snippet-related tasks, this does move a bit faster than fishing, because you can catch snippets really quick. I don't know about you guys, but I have a hard time not catching snippets. Like anytime I see a snippet, I just have to get it. So I typically just continuously catch snippets while making my way through the Vale, completing various duties. I could be mining, fishing, gardening, but if I see a snippet, I'm gonna go after it. If you catch snippets when and where they pop up, you'll make a surprising amount of progress on your Storybook Vale snippet tasks. Keep in mind, each different type of snippet has its own task. You get rewards for catching snippet frogs, snippet birds, snippet demons, etc. With that out of the way, it's finally time to move on to Chapter 3, which carries one of our biggest topics, Storybook Vale duties. Duties are by far the fastest way to generate storybook magic, as many of the duties can take mere seconds and they refresh instantly. However, without a bit of foresight and preparation, it's entirely possible to run into some issues while grinding these duties, and many duties can become time-locked without preparation or knowledge. We'll start this chapter off by circling back to critters. Duties that require you to feed a specific critter are very common, and the total number of critters in the Vale is very limited, especially if many of your areas are still locked. To make matters worse, if a critter has already been fed that day, feeding it again will not count towards a duty's completion. This means that some duties that require feeding critters can become time-locked if you're not careful. In fact, I recommend not feeding critters at all unless it pops up as a duty. And don't worry, it will pop up. Of course, once you have everything unlocked, feel free to feed the critters the moment you see them. The next thing we should talk about is removing inkies. Now, you'd think this would work just like removing night thorns, but it doesn't. Only certain inkies actually count for this duty. Inkies that you find in a newly unlocked biome will not count towards this goal. Only inkies that spawned onto the Vale recently will count. Because of this, I advise against removing inkies until it pops up as a duty. Thankfully, feeding critters and removing inkies are among some of the only duties that can be time-locked in Storybook Vale. Now let's discuss how you can speed through some of your other duties. As mentioned previously, many of our duties can be completed in our work site. Even the duties that ask you to decorate specific biomes can be completed here simply by entering furniture mode and moving the camera to another biome. Taking pictures, changing clothes, gardening, selling, foraging, cooking, and serving meals can all be done right here. For all of our other duties, we'll refer to them from this point on as off-site duties. These include things like catching fish, mining, or catching snippets. Let's touch on fish first. If you need a koi fish, simply fish the open water of the bind. If you need a lamprey, use a fishing potion in the Ever After. If you need to catch seafood, use a fishing potion in the bind to catch these adorable crabs. What I'm getting at here is that the fishing potion is very useful for completing your duties here in Storybook Vale. Though I do recommend using a smaller bottle. You don't want to be stuck with a big bottle on if you're looking for a fish that requires a gray circle. I also recommend doing your best to familiarize yourself with where each fish spawns and what color its circle is. Don't forget, you can revisit the collection tab in the menu to refresh your memory and double check where each fish is found. The collection tab is also great for showing you where to find snippets. Now, I don't know about you, but I do find snippets super easy to catch. If you're struggling to catch any snippets, I recommend performing the spin attack with your net, as it covers a vast area and you don't have to be nearly as accurate as you do with the swing. If you're still struggling to catch snippets even with the little spin attack, you could use a slow trap, but those cost storybook magic to craft, which is something we're trying to save, not spend. If you'd like a full guide on snippet hunting, be sure to let me know in the comments. I think most people are finding it pretty easy, but I'm curious to know if anybody's interested in that. Now, as we mentioned in the task chapter, mining duties will always be far easier if you have a pickaxe polish, aka mining potion. There are several duties that require you to mine specific resources. Sometimes it's opal, sometimes it's rubies, sometimes it's topaz, whatever it may be, you will always get it way faster with a pickaxe polish. Also, as previously mentioned, consistently using pickaxe polish is going to help you complete your Storybook Vale tasks in addition to your duties. In closing, there are many efficient ways to gather storybook magic, but the absolute fastest method is of course grinding out your duties while simultaneously working to complete every Storybook Vale task that you can. Just don't waste too much time on the ones that can take forever, like fishing, unless you have a whole bunch of fishing buddies. My last word of advice in today's video is to be sure to check your Storybook Vale task page often. Tasks that you're close to leveling up or completing are usually right near the top. And if you find yourself 100 or 200 storybook magic away from that exciting new biome, you may check your task page to find out you only need to pick one more sourberry. Many players can spend a lot of time focusing on their duties, and these same players can forget just how easily some of the tasks can be completed. I know I'm definitely guilty of this, so working to focus on both duties and tasks together really helped me progress in this new expansion quickly, and I'm hoping it does the same for you. If you found today's video helpful, informative, or simply entertaining, please do me a very big favor and press that like button. Also, consider subscribing for more Disney Dreamlight Valley and gaming content. No, seriously, it's my birthday. Like, will you subscribe for my birthday? That would be really cool. I bet you will. I totally bet you'll subscribe for my birthday. Yay, happy birthday to me. If you would like to check out my content live, you can find me streaming Monday through Friday on Twitch. Links to both my Twitch channel and Discord server can be found in the video description down below. As always, thank you so much for your time today, and I hope you enjoy the Storybook Vale expansion.